So, in recent years, we've seen a lot of actors start to turn down roles in big franchises like DC, Star Wars, Marvel, things like that have big built-in fan bases, because at the moment on social media, online, offline, wherever you kind of talk about your movies, there's this kind of really bad toxic area of the movie fandom, this kind of cesspit, where people feel that it's okay to send death threats, to say the most horrible things to actors, and all this kind of crazy stuff. Personally, it's fine if you want to criticize an actor's performance, if you think someone was miscast, if you don't like a director, if you don't like the direction of a movie, maybe a trailer, but to start tagging actors and directors and sending emails with death threats and physically threatening to harm people, I mean, it's just crazy stuff. So we're going to jump into this article, kind of break down the story here, talking about Shazam and the director, that he got death threats over what happened with his movie. Just crazy, like I say, crazy stuff, man. Sometimes it's unbelievable. This comes to us from comicbook.com. So, Shazam director reveals crazy and angry fans sent death threats over DC movies. Well, we all know, like, the Snyder Bros and that kind of cult following, how passionate that fan base is, and there's nothing wrong with that. I kind of class myself as a Snyder Bro. Like, I love the Snyderverse, I really do, but I would never, in my wildest dreams, think about emailing someone or writing a comment or tagging someone with a death threat. It's insane, and it's just beyond the pale, it really is. So, sometimes fans take things just a bit too far. Yeah, they do. They hide behind their being anonymous online, obviously. So let's get into the story. Shazam director David F. Sandberg opens up about his time in the DC Extended Universe. Obviously, David F. Sandberg, he's a pretty good director. I like a lot of the stuff that he does. Showing that he received death threats from angry fans. While promoting his new movie, Until Dawn, which I'm going to be seeing tomorrow, I'm really excited to see that movie, the director discussed what drew him to the project, citing the creative script and its approach to bringing the video game story to life. However, there was a point in time when he wouldn't have been interested in helming this movie. After his negative experiences in the DCEU, Sandberg swore off working on another project based on an established IP. And like I said at the beginning of the video, this is a trend that's picking up steam in Hollywood now. Actors are shying away from big roles in Marvel, Star Wars, DC, things like this, because, you know, it could destroy their personal lives with death threats and these kind of crazy things like that, but also on a professional level. I mean, people attacking them for being miscast, people attacking them for not being the character that the fans want them to be, and all this kind of stuff. So people are kind of turning down roles in these big IPs, feeling that dealing with the fan reactions just wasn't worth it. So the director went on to say the following, quote, "I mean, to be honest, fans can get very crazy and very angry with you. I mean, just go on any social media movie platform, whether it's Reddit, whether it's X, all of these kind of places, and just look at comments on any of the movie material, and you'll see that some of the comments are really insane." Sandberg told Games Radar Plus, you can get like death threats and everything, so after Shazam 2, I was like, I never want to do another IP-based movie because it's just not worth it. But then I was sent the script, talking about Until Dawn, and I was like, this would be so much fun to do all these kind of horrors. I kind of have to do it. I hope the people see it, what we're trying to do, and they like it. So, Sandberg directed 2 Shazam movies. The first Shazam movie was such a pleasant entry in the DCEU. It was such a fun movie. I enjoyed Shazam 2 partly, not as good as the first, but that first Shazam movie was really fun. The first came out in 2019 and was well received at the box office success of $367.7 million worldwide against a $100 million budget. So it just about made a little bit of money. It didn't make that much money, but it just about turned a profit. Critics consider it a refreshing change of pace for the franchise and its playful tone, but Shazam proved to be a one-hit wonder on the big screen. 2023's Shazam Fury of the Gods saw diminishing returns. Critically and commercially, the sequel bombed by grossing only $134.1 million worldwide. I mean, at that point, the DCEU franchise was just in the gutter. Every single movie that was coming out was making next to no money, and is part of the reason because of that, because the franchise as a whole, the DCEU, was just in the ground. If the Shazam Fury of the Gods had came out at another time, it could have potentially been successful, but the franchise as a whole, not just Shazam, but the wider DCEU was just in a bad state at that point. So after Shazam Fury of the Gods came out, Sandberg stated he was done with superheroes for now, making it clear that his desire to return to his horror roots. At the time, he mentioned he wanted to disconnect from superhero discourse online, revealing that it had taken a toll on him. I could imagine that. I mean, imagine being an actress or an actor and opening up social media and seeing people saying the most horrible, hurtful, disgusting things about not only your movie and what you're making, but about you personally. I mean, for example, let's just pluck something out of the air that's going on at the moment. If we look at, the casting of Bella Ramsey in the Last of Us series that's going on at the moment, a lot of people hate Bella Ramsey, the casting, and a lot of people choose to, verbally assault her because of her looks and what she looks like. And man, some of the things that people say about her appearance on X and other social media platforms is just unbelievable. Like, it's just crazy what they say about her. So, yeah, toxic fandom, man, it can get really, really bad. So passionate fan bases are why franchises like Marvel, Star Wars and DC have endured for decades, but it's easy to see why working on one of those sandboxes could be exhausting for a filmmaker. Fans are always eager to learn more about upcoming projects and obsess over every small detail. Absolutely. Obviously, being a pop culture channel like myself, whenever a new trailer comes out, a new poster, behind the scenes footage, we break it down, we go frame by frame, we pick out every little bit of detail, and if there's something there that fans don't like or doesn't work, then they go absolutely crazy, off the chain. It starts up this massive Discord with things trending, and people just get more and more crazy. Yeah, it's just herd mentality, I guess. While that kind of enthusiasm can help a project like Shazam become a hit, some people can take things too far. Given how widespread these fan bases are, it's impossible for a director to please everyone. Yeah, you just can't do it. You have to do what you think is right, make the best film that you think that you can make, and that's all you can do. Like it says, you cannot please everyone. There's no way to do it. But there's a stark difference between criticizing a movie and sending death threats to a person who made it. That's exactly what I said at the beginning of the video. There's that line. There's an absolute line there. Not to mention it's breaking the law as well, sending death threats to someone. But yeah, you can criticize a movie, criticize a trailer, a poster, behind the scenes reel, an actor, a miscast, whatever. But when you actually sit down at your keyboard and you preemptively think to yourself, right, I'm going to write out a message to say that I'm going to hurt someone, or I'm going to kill someone, or someone should die, or it's just insane. Like, who in their right mind does that? Like, who has that thought process? I have no idea. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, though they should be civilized in discourse, absolutely. It's not just the superhero movies where this is an issue. Something similar happened during the development of Scream. So, now that this has been mentioned, let's just go over and have a quick read of an excerpt about what happened on Scream 7, because it further reiterates the point of what's going on here with toxic fandom. So, going over to here. So, this is talking about the director here on Scream 7. So, the director said, people were threatening to kill me and my family, to the point where the FBI was getting involved. Just let that sink in for a second. People were threatening to kill me and my family. Landon said, I got messages saying I'm going to find your kids and I'm going to kill them because you support child murder. The head of security at various studios and the FBI had to examine the threats. It was highly aggressive and really scary. Could you imagine, as a working professional in the movie industry, you open up your social media or you open up your emails in the morning to check if you've got any messages that you need to read, and you have a message saying, I'm going to find your kids and I'm going to kill them. Can you imagine psychologically what that does to a person to read a message like that? Unbelievable. He added, they wanted me to continue. They basically said, you can restart it, you can figure it out. But the amount of abuse I had to deal with, I decided I didn't want to give any part of myself to that. For me, it was not worth it. I would rather put my efforts into something else where I could feel appreciated and respected. The hate and abuse really spoiled it for me, and I lost my love for the idea of it going forward. So that just kind of further hammers home the point of what these directors and creatives have to deal with. It sounds like, going back to the Shazam story here anyway, it sounds like Sandberg is completely done with comic book adaptations, which is a shame, because he delivered something fun with Shazam. Yeah, I mean, it's just, we're kind of robbing ourselves of the talent here, not just on screen, but behind the screen, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. When we're this toxic, we get, we turn off actors to being in part of our favourite movies, and it's a shame. It would have been interesting to see him try his hand at another character down the line. Perhaps something more horror flavored in the MCU. Yeah, I mean, Sandberg could have came in and done something like a Swamp Thing movie or something like that. That would have been perfect for him. Taking a stab at a horror version of Swamp Thing. That would have been fantastic. But now, because of the way people have acted, that's no longer a possibility. In the meantime, time will tell if gamers reach. Time will tell how gamers reach to his adaptation of Until Dawn, which I think looks really, really fun. It does stray quite heavily away from the source material of the games, but I don't really care. The movie looks quite fun. The film makes some notable differences from the source material, exactly what I was just saying, which might not sit well with fans depending on how they're executed. Hopefully Sandberg doesn't face further death threats from Until Dawn players. I really, really hope that's not the case. Guys, if you are a player of that game and you don't like what he's doing with it, just, you know, you can criticize the movie, criticize the direction of the movie and all that good stuff, but just don't take it upon yourself to send him a message, you know, being kind of verbally abusive. It's just, there's just no point to it. There really, really isn't. But I mean, I shouldn't have to tell someone not to do that. I mean, your own kind of subconscious mind should be telling you not to do that anyway. But guys, so that's kind of where we are. That's kind of a breakdown of some of the abusive, toxic fandom that goes on in the dark corners of the internet. And it's just a shame that we have to deal with this kind of stuff. It puts a bad light on the fandom around movies. And it's turning some of the creatives and actors off to being in our favourite movies. And it's a shame. We're only hurting ourselves by acting this way. But guys, jump into the comment section. You hear this story. What do you think about it? I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and opinions on this kind of stuff that's going on here. Have you seen any examples of this online? And what do you think that we can do to kind of minimize this behavior against the creatives of our movies? I would love to hear what you have to say. As always, guys, thanks so much for being here and kind of reading along this with me. Very interesting topic of conversation. Make sure you hit the like button before you leave. Consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't done so far. It goes a long way to supporting the content, so I really appreciate that. And as always, I will see you in the next video.